Carmelo Anthony has officially announced as part of the 2025 Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. The debate of will he or won't he is officially over, as Carmelo has officially enshrined his name into basketball history. A standout at Syracuse University, he was picked at number 3 in the legendary 2003 NBA draft. But while Carmelo Anthony may have never won an NBA championship or an MVP, he racked up an eye-popping 28,000 points over his 19-year NBA career. He's also a 3-time Olympic gold medalist and is considered by many to be one of the best players of his generation. We here at NTTV congratulate Carmelo Anthony on his legendary career and for finally making the Hall of Fame after years of doubt. The madness is about to reach its rightful conclusion, and whilst the tournament wasn't as crazy as those in the past, this year's Final Four carries an interesting stat, as it is the first time in the history of the tournament to feature all 4 #1 seeds. We got 2 exciting matchups as SEC powerhouses Auburn and Florida will duke it out to claim a spot in the final. Florida is the hottest team in basketball, carrying a high-powered offense, whilst Auburn have never gotten this far and are looking to make school history with their first ever final appearance. On the other side of the bracket, we have a basketball powerhouse in Duke going up against an underdog Houston team that had to fight and claw their way into the Final Four. Both games we played on Saturday, and I'm hoping for a Houston-Auburn final. Go Cougs! And to finish things off, I've got an amazing story on UNT tennis from my colleague and fellow NTTV sports reporter, Nicholas Violetti. Please take a look. And after a hectic week for Red Bull, it appears that Yuki Tsunoda will permanently replace Liam Lawson in the upcoming Japanese GP. This drama comes after a fan outrage earlier in the F1 offseason when Red Bull infamously decided to call up Liam over Yuki. Many cited Liam's inexperience and lack of adapting to Red Bull's 2025 car in the offseason as reasons why he would fail. Unfortunately, Liam could not prove the haters wrong. Good call, haters. Yuki Tsunoda hopes to bring success back to Red Bull, a team that is currently in the middle of a very disappointing season. And that's all I have here in the sports world. Back to you guys over at the desk. It has been a dramatic set of days over in Europe as the second round of the UEFA Champions League has officially kicked off, as Real Madrid took on their perpetual foe Manchester City in an absolute belter of a game. Mbappe and Haaland, the 2 best players in the world, had a duel for the ages as Erling scored 2 goals and Mbappe scored in the 60th to ramp up a Madrid comeback. But in the 92nd minute, with the game stuck at 2-2, Real's Jude Bellingham smashed it in the bottom corner to pull out a huge win for Los Blancos. Other highlights this week were Bruges stunning Atalanta with a 2-1 victory, and a weekend Feyenoord, who just fired their coach and sold their star striker to Milan, ended up winning over the ladder in a shock win. Can Bruges keep up the momentum? Will Feyenoord complete the impossible? Is the season finished for Man City? We'll find out next week as the second leg of games will be played. Finally, some positive news for Rangers fans as their 4-game losing streak has finally come to an end. Last night, the Rangers chucked the Angels into a wood chipper and picked up their first win since being swept in Seattle last weekend. The game was quiet until the 6th inning when Leody Taveras bunted for a hit, stole a base, and scored on a sacrifice fly. That created some momentum as the Rangers scored in each of their last 3 innings to seal a 4-0 victory. Texas hopes to keep this momentum going as they get ready to take on LA again tonight. And fans, don't forget you've got until 11 tonight to claim your free McDouble that comes after every Rangers win. I guess everything is coming up Rangers this time of the year. And that's all for me, guys. Back to you all at the desk.
Yeah.
I think he's a really solid role player. Like, I mean, to get not starting minutes, but to get minutes on that, on that team with the Thunder, where I think almost everyone that's starting 5 is an all-star caliber player.
Right.
You have to have talent, and I do think Giddey had that talent his freshman, sophomore year. But this past year, he kind of dipped in his efficiency a huge, But
Yeah.
I don't know. Caruso is a great player, but he's getting older. And if you're the Bulls, you want to start focusing more on youth, start focusing more on role players that can be here 4 years rather than 2 years.
Right.
And I feel like that's why they really made that trade. I gotta go Cat to the Knicks.
Okay.
I think.
I think this is the biggest
This
trade.
is the
of
biggest
the
trade.
offseason.
It was when I saw the block, I was like, I guess it's just the Cat block. But for the Knicks team that had long been lacking superstars long, have been looking for their number one guy and just couldn't really find it. And Darius Garland comes around. You know, they're geniuses for pulling this trade off. They're geniuses. And the entire summer, I had this guy. I followed the Knicks subreddit. I'm not even a Knicks fan, but there's this one news guy who's like saying, "Cat will go to the Knicks. Cat will go to the Knicks," and the entire fan base was laughing at him. Like, no, he won't. No, he won't. And he brought up really good points. I mean, Minnesota had to give up Cat. Anthony Edwards or
Gobert.
Apologies, I can't believe I forgot that man's name. But because of the cap situation, you know, starting this week, the cap basically goes in, and the luxury tax they would have had to pay would have been humongous. Now, losing Dante DiVincenzo to me is actually a pretty big loss. And that, again, the Villanova Knicks was a fun team in the offseason, and he's a great role player as well. And I don't think you're getting anything big out of Cat. You're going to get maybe 3-4 years out of him. You just gave up a role player for 5 years and a number one pick, potentially a number one overall pick.
Spread the floor, 5 out now, and you know, get the ball up the court faster now. And they're playing at a faster pace now.
I agree. Cat's like the perfect center for Thibodeau's offense. I think he's the perfect fast-paced guy who's like he's a 5, but he plays like a 3.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that I think Thibodeau will play with like a new toy on Christmas. He's gonna love it, man.
We see, but this year, just nothing on him because I guess everyone is just smoke screened by the overrated quarterbacks that are not with the last name Knicks. The guy brings winning to teams. He brought an Indiana team that only had 1 to 2 winning seasons in its past 15 years. He took them to a 7 seed, and people were still doubting him. He goes over to the Washington Huskies. The Boar himself, one of the college football's best coaches, calls upon him personally. I want you to be my quarterback. Here are the keys to my team. Anyone else would crumble like some cookies, but the guy stands up for himself, gets nearly 5,000, leads them to a national championship, and we still got people like Wyatt Schott going, I just don't really think he's got it in him left because he tore an ACL a couple of years back. You know who else tore an ACL and bounced back? Tom freaking Brady. This guy's got it, man. He's up next.